every day that goes by, we get closer and closer to the first start of the twin-turbo K24 Honda NSX build that I've been working on for the last year. This thing is super close to the first start. In the last episode, we got all of the cabin and body wiring harnesses installed, and we got the K24 to crank under its own power for the first time. The first thing I need to get sorted out today is battery placement. Of course, we need a battery to run the car and to drive the car. From the factory, the battery sits right in this front area on this tray right here. Now this tray and cross member was installed on the car when the car got in a wreck. So as you can see, it is quite bent up. Unfortunately, this piece is discontinued from Honda. There's no way we can buy this. Even if we wanted to spend 10 grand, we cannot order this. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and remake this entire unit out of new aluminum. Here we have some 3/8 by 1.5 6061. 3 bars of it. And the first thing I need to do is go ahead and build the base. So we have the front section here and the 2 bars that run to the back. The battery would sit right up in here from the factory. Now I'm not going to be using any part of this. I have a different solution for the battery that I'll show you guys here in a minute. But first, let's go ahead and get the base of it built with these 3 1.5 bars. Check out what I ended up with. Very nice and simple, just like the factory. Went ahead and slotted the front holes just like the factory did. All this really is a glorified battery mount. I'm also going to be using it for our ice box later on when I start to build that system. But for now, let's get the battery tray and battery mounted up in the car. For the battery, I picked up an AC Delco 94 AGM. This thing is pretty large, 850 CCA. And for our battery tray, I actually found this on Amazon. It was like 40 bucks, a nice little stainless steel battery tray. Let's see where we can mount this thing. I'm hoping we can get it centered up on the thing I just built, but I think it may have to be offset. I need it as far back as possible because in front of that is where the ice box is going to sit. It does look like it will have to be offset just a little bit. Not a big deal. After getting this very large battery in this area, I'm actually rethinking this whole thing. I'm gonna go to a group 51 battery, which is almost half the size. The main problem I'm running into right now is there's not quite enough space for the icebox size that I wanna run. I wanna be able to fit at least a 5-gallon icebox. As of right now with this giant battery in here, there's no way that would fit. If we go to a group 51, it's about 2.5 inches narrower, which gives us a ton more space for that icebox. And of course, it'll be lighter, so the NSX will wheelie easier. Kinda, sorta kidding, kinda not. Moving on from that whole situation, we need to get a radiator into the car. Now, I'm sure the factory radiator and fan combo would work fine, but if we can upgrade, of course, we are gonna upgrade. Not only is the new radiator 20% bigger than the factory, it also looks 10,000 times nicer. Now I could simply just toss on the factory fan, but we do have one main problem with that, and that is space. This thing is about, I don't know, 6 inches thick, which pretty much takes up all of the space that we need for our icebox. So in order to resolve that and also upgrade, I'll be slapping in a set 2 of these small fans. These things pretty much go on every build that I do. They work amazing. On this car, on this build, I'm gonna go with 2. So not only do we have a thicker radiator, which is going to hold more coolant, and 2 fans, the whole setup measures 3 inches skinnier than the OEM. Not only is this system going to cool way better than that, it also looks way nicer. Now I could just toss on the fans, effectively zip tie them right to the radiator through the fins. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm gonna go ahead and build a nice aluminum shroud for the fans to mount to, kind of like how the factory has it here, but mine is gonna be out of aluminum. So I have the base of the fan shroud built. Now I certainly don't want this sitting directly on the radiator for multiple reasons, mainly because I know that's gonna rattle a whole lot. So I'll grab a little bit of that foam gasket, kind of like the factory uses, and go around the whole edge. But for now, let's go ahead and build some mounting tabs using all the factory mounting spots. There, 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 and right there. Now, I'm not no professional aluminum welder, but I'm pretty happy with my little tabs that I welded on. I did make the tabs a touch on the bigger side. I'd rather trim them down later versus have to rebuild them. So what I'm gonna do now is go ahead and drill all the holes where it's gonna mount. And if need be, which I think we will need to, we can go ahead and trim down the mounting tabs. The base is done with the mounting tabs. All that turned out fantastic. Now we need to go ahead and get the fans on the shroud, cut giant holes, of course, for the fans, and figure out how to attach those to this. All right, we are all finished up. This is the OEM setup, OEM radiator, OEM fan, and this is my setup. Coil rod, 2 spall fans, and a nice little radiator shroud. Let's get her in the car and see how it looks. I'm glad the radiator and fans are dealt with. I do need to wire those in to the Haltech, but we'll deal with all the wiring from the Nexus to the chassis later on. We're gonna have quite a few things that we do need to wire in. Drive-by-wire pedal, radiator fans, the pump for the air-to-water cooler system, potentially cruise control, potentially rolling anti-lag, potentially other goodies like that. Let's move back to the battery situation. It's now the next day. I'm gonna run in and grab a Group 51 battery. It's like a 5-inch by 9-inch, still considered a full-size battery. I think they come factory in 2016 plus Civics. It's about half the size of that battery. And then I think I'm gonna go ahead and just build my own battery tray. That's what I initially was gonna run, and this is what I am running. This is gonna be much better. Again, still a full-size battery. It is a little bit lower on the cold cranking amps, but still plenty enough for a little 4-cylinder. Let's see how this guy fits. That, my friends, gives us way more space for a properly sized ice box. My aluminum TIG welding has come such a far way over the last month. I can literally just pick up my TIG now and slap together some aluminum. Now, they're not no professional quality welds, but they're not bad. The fact that I don't need to cover them up with wrinkle black powder coat now, I've come a long way, man. And I'm excited because I used to never be able to TIG aluminum no matter how hard I tried. So this is the battery tray. Let's make sure again that it fits. All right, look at that. Nice and tight, but not too tight. Fits perfect with the Group 51 battery. Now we need to go ahead and attach the battery mount to our little cross member that we made earlier. The battery tray is fully welded in place. Went a little extra, went around the whole outside edge. Now we need to build the battery tie down to the battery strap, and this whole assembly will be complete. Very simple. This is what I came up with for the battery tie down. These rods are threaded on both sides, so it'll bolt there. The top bar will sit like that. There'll be a hole drilled there, bolting to the rod. So this here is what I ended up with. This is the cross member, the battery tray itself, and the tie down assembly. Let's get all of this in the car, get it all nice and bolted up, snugged up, and tight. And make sure it all works good, everything lines up, and make sure the battery isn't gonna go flying out when we do wheelies. Now that's not the coolest thing in the world that I've ever built, but man, that is a nice clean setup and it works tremendously. We now have about a foot of space in between the battery and the radiator fans for the ice box that we need to build. That ain't gonna happen today. That is a ton of work. I need to really plan that whole system out. I most likely will have to shift this guy over to this rail, kind of like how that one is. Factory, the ABS pump sits right here, so that's why they have the radiator hose over here, or the pipe over here. So I'll probably have to cut that, rotate it, push it to the rail so we have even more space width-wise to get an ice box and the pump installed. Another very productive day coming to an end, one step closer to the first start on the twin turbo NSX. Very, very excited to hear this thing fire up for the first time. I have no idea how it's gonna sound. It's such a unique setup, like the runner links, everything about it, especially being twin turbo. It's either gonna sound really, really good or horrendous. I guess we'll see.